Blighty Boxing in association with Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions. We're here in Chiswick, quite posh Chiswick actually, to catch up with Troublesome Thompson. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you? Okay?
Yeah, good. Long time no see. Did you cope with being locked down and confined? We've got to get this question out of the way.
Right? That's the question. It was an experience in itself, to be fair. Tough in some areas, good in others, enjoyable in others. I think we got blessed with the weather. We got pretty lucky with the weather. There were also various things going on, lots of ups and downs through there. But it was good all in all, to be fair. I think it gave me, anyway, again, a little bit of time to just reflect, assess, plan, reevaluate and stuff like that. And I think it's done me, I can say it's done me a little bit of good, to be fair. So, did
you stay in Chiswick throughout the whole thing?
Not throughout the whole thing, so I was to and from, because it did get pretty repetitive. So the downs, it just got repetitive. I was just doing the same thing every day, and it wasn't an enjoyable routine, it was just becoming the same thing. And I actually went to my mum and dad's.
I was just going to say,
I had to go back to the families. I missed the home cooking, the mum's cooking, which is always a treat. Good to see I did some training with my dad and my mum, which is always good, you know, just that extra added motivation, to be fair. So that was good. Kept it at a nice balance, to be fair. And then
I was thinking you're not going to be able to keep you away from your ma for 3 months.
This is the thing. My mummy's boy through and through. Mummy's boy through and through. Anyone who knows me well will tell you that. That's for sure. And then I get handed over to the pops when it's time to train.
Yes, hard taskmaster.
That's the one.
Right, with you, I think we probably kind of take it back quite a long time. You had a number of fights. Yeah. It was all going quite well.
Yeah.
A shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. I mean, that was a long-term.
It was a long, yeah. It was. I mean, it was one that I'd been babying and carrying throughout my career. Like when I started boxing and when I started.
Was it a tennis injury?
I think so. I mean, any physio or surgeon that I've spoke to has said it could have stemmed from tennis, and it was just an ongoing thing which just got worse and worse. That's backfiring now. It feels great, to be fair. So I'm looking forward on actually like testing it in battle, like in war, like in the trenches, and actually going for it with it. So that's something I've done in spars, but like they say, like sparring's nothing compared to the real night. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to putting it on the line.
But that was tough on you, I think, certainly physically because of the injury, but mentally. I mean, I remember there was even a time where you were sort of pleading for sort of some funds for surgery and things like that. I mean, that must have been quite desperate times.
Yeah, I mean, desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I think that was a time where it was just any help was welcomed. And I'd obviously my sponsor at the time, Mawson, they helped me out a little bit, and I had some help from family and friends, from some good close family and friends. So that helped me out a lot, and that was a tough time because, you know, if you're full-time boxing, you don't really got time to work. So that's something that was something that I had to think about as well, because with the injury I thought, listen, I might going to need a plan B or a backup plan or something just on the side just to help you keep ticking over, because like I say, it's a big risk to go all in with something. You get a little injury and then that's that. So
would
that
you
was
go along with the school of thought that shoulder injuries are perhaps probably the worst and most complicated ones on the market?
100%. And that's anyone I spoke to about or who had a shoulder surgery or had a shoulder injury, they said, listen, it's one of them, like, yeah, it's not going to ever get back to 100%, but you're going to have to baby it throughout your career. And that's something, I think that's just all in attention to detail and really going about my business properly and just really focusing on making sure that it can perform to the best of its capability.
How long were you incapacitated for? Normally quite long, isn't it, with your shoulder up?
Yeah, so I was completely immobile with the shoulder for about 3-4 months.
Ooh.
Yeah, completely. I couldn't do anything. I mean, that was horrible in itself. I think that's where the mental struggle really got me, because when it comes to stuff like that, I'm pretty independent. I like to be able to just handle things on my own and deal with situations on my own. So that there was tough, and I had some really good people around me, family, close friends, loved ones. So credit to them for helping me through a tough time, because it was a dark time anyway, and without them it would have been a whole lot darker. So
in amongst all this, I'm not sure whether it was during or at the end of your recovery, you relocated. You swapped sunny Manchester for leafy Chiswick.
Yeah.
What was the what's the thought process behind that?
What was the thought process behind that? It was more of a step back during the injury. Like I said, I had bags of time, and I was just sat back and I had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to look at my life, and it was like the thought process behind it was simple as, if you're going to do this, do it properly. And for me, was I doing it properly in Manchester? No, I wasn't giving it my all. Since I moved down to London, I'm giving it more, that it's getting more attention than it's ever had. There's always room for improvement, but as I start working my way up the ladder and I start getting those bigger fights and winning those fights, everything becomes a little bit easier. I can give my career more and more of myself and then go all in. So once I've got the backings, I can go all in then. And that's just something that I've enjoyed it, because it's been a little bit of a challenge as well. And I think, is the grass greener on the other side? It is pretty green in Chiswick, to be fair. I'll tell you that. Anyone that lives there will tell you that as well.
Tommy, during your downtime, when mentally you were probably in a very low place, were there social distractions, shall we call them, in Manchester that probably might have took you away from giving it your all? Cause, I mean, let's be brutal about it. The temptation is, you're not training, you're a young man, you're in a place like Manchester. Exactly. There's a temptation to go out, and there'll be plenty of people wanting to go out with you. 100
million%. I mean, I don't know about the plenty of people wanting to go out with me, but yeah. No, that was a temptation. I remember I went through a stage, I went out a lot. There were other things and other distractions, which I think for me was more on a deeper level, on a personal level. Like, there was things I do just to hide away. Like, there was even a time when I wasn't even in that sort of mindset, and I wasn't in that sort of like state of mind, and I was just going into deep, dark places, which for me, even looking back, that's where for me I was going wrong. And that for me was a distraction away from boxing. And even leading out of the injury, it was like, did I keep on having them, or do I forget about those bad habits and try and level up? And that's where I think the move to London for me really helped, because it's like a step away from a comfort zone. And that's what I kind of thought that I fell into, and which was a comfort zone, and I was just okay with doing the same thing over and over again.
I'll admit to a little bit of insider knowledge. Was with your old man, I think back end of last year, and he said I was keen to get him out of Manchester.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was for my family more than anything, because I was in such of a rut as to whereas I didn't really care about myself anymore. Like, I didn't respect myself. I wasn't holding my morals in the right place and stuff like that. Like, I'd forgotten myself a little bit. I was lost, to be quite frank. And as a father and as a mother, I think that it was clear to them from a long time ago as well. Whereas for me, I was kind of lying to myself, like, no, it's not that bad, I'll be all right, like, I'll get there kind of thing, like complacent about it. Whereas they were more of the view, like, well, you need to fix up, and you need to sort yourself out quick, because time waits for no man. I'm 27 now, that's something I had to give. And the move should have actually happened a lot earlier, like it was presented to me a lot earlier, and I kept on putting it off. I was like, no, I'm happy here, I'm happy where I am. Was I happy where I was? No. Was I comfortable where I was? Yes. So for me, the move was just about getting out of the comfort zone, and that's something that I'm still definitely out of.
I think that's probably where you have your advantage of having high achievers for parents. Just for the people who don't know, they're both world champions in the field of karate. So when you've got people with that knowledge and mentality of how to reach the top,
exactly,
and they could see you were sort of veering off it.
I was going the opposite way. I was going the opposite way.
Sort of having those sort of guidelines from them, it must have been invaluable.
Exactly. I mean, invaluable, yeah, that's an understatement. And they've always led by example as well, to give credit to them. The only little thing there is, for me, always, and that's even growing up, is like, it's all well and good like having your mum and dad telling you something, but you don't always listen to your mum and dad kind of thing. Like, your dad could tell you one thing, and then a stranger could tell you what, but you'll listen to the stranger just because it's not come from your dad kind of thing. It's like, I don't know if it's part of rebelling, like,
it's just natural.
A lot of kids go through it, if not every kid goes through it. But yeah, to have the same knowledge passed on, even like some of my mum and dad's close friends, like, they've passed on gems to me which I've taken and really kept hold of them. So no, it's been a lot of leveling up, a lot of maturing, which is fun. It's fun.
Of course, changing from north to south obviously required a change of camp, a change of training camp.
Yeah.
You were with Haroon Headley.
Yeah.
And you're now with Don Charles.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that transition.
That transition, it was a natural one. Change of location just simply meant change of trainer. There was no two ways about it. And being with Don now, it's amazing. Like, I think we're working on all like the good fundamentals of boxing, which is what I needed. To be fair, I needed to be like taught back to basics. As you know, I'm quite novice-y in my approach to boxing. Obviously, got bags of talent. Everyone tells me you've got loads of talent, loads of potential, but you need to understand the basic fundamentals of boxing, and that's what we've been working really hard on. We've got a great connection now in the gym, and it's good. You know, I'm really keen to see like when we get into a serious fight and that little step up, like what we've got to put on to show, and I think we're working on something nice, that's for sure.
He's hugely experienced, isn't he?
That's the thing. I mean, and that was partly the reason. I mean, you've got to think he's not only very experienced in what he does, but he's worked with the big guys as well in the past. Like he's worked with big fighters, so he knows what he's doing. We got off on a great foot, and I like him as a person as well, which is more important to me as like a trainer. I like him as a person and as a guy. So we've got a good connection there, that's for sure.
Your parents are now in Kent, so you're all kind of reunited. Before that, you were pretty much cast out on your own into the big smoke. Tell us about how you built the other side of your life, because obviously you had to work, pay the rent, you know, pay to eat. So I mean, how have you built up yourself? Because you can't rely on boxing. So what have you done?
So part of the move down here was the opportunity of this gym where I'm at right now, the Hogarth Health Club. The owner, who's a good family friend of ours, Dan White, he had let me know that there was a personal training job available at the gym, so I came in, had to study for my course, and I actually work as a PT out of here now, doing one-to-ones on the gym floor. And then the main thing I do is just do one-to-one boxing sessions, which is something I enjoy as well, to be fair, because I'm still learning as well. Even though I'm coaching people, I'm learning as well while I'm coaching, which is it's a good thing, to be fair, and that keeps me ticking over.
Do your clients have to be of a certain height? Because you doing the pads with you might require a lot of upward trajectory.
They've either got a great jab up, or I have to crouch down, so I'm either getting a full-on leg workout. I'm in a squat throughout the whole thing usually, but we adjust, that's for sure.
Now the next significant event in this sort of transitional period, you haven't had another fight yet.
No.
Was a little voyage out to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It was earlier this year, wasn't it? It feels like a long time ago, but it was back in February. Tell us a little bit about the mechanics of how that works when you get, I mean, basically you're a bunch of hired guns who were brought in for a period of sustained sparring. So I mean, how does it work on a sort of a working social basis? You know, I mean, does somebody come and look after you, chaperone you around? How often are you required?
We were just left to our own devices, to be fair. We were told when we needed to be at the gym, what time for, and we just had to be there. Apart from that, we were left to our own devices. We were obviously given like expenses for food, petrol, travel. We got given a car. So it was a good experience, to be fair. Like, it was a real experience of America in Las Vegas. I'd never been there before, so you got taken away by the lights a little bit, but all in all, it was a real good experience. How often
were you required? Sort of how often were you sparring with a big fella?
I mean, there were times we were in back to back, and then there were times which we might not come in, or there'd be two people in one day, two people in the other. But no, it was a good. We got a constant run, to be fair. There was no one really left out for too long, which was good. So we all got some good work. We all got countless rounds, which I'm sure we all taking a lot away from that. So. No, it was good fun. That's for sure.
I do actually remember speaking to you out there, and you sort of said
we had a phone call.
The exact dimensions of Deontay Wilder, but you reckon you got better legs than him?
Yeah, I got better legs. His legs went all over the place.
Did Tyson use you more for that reason? Sort of? Did you find he sort of selected you to sort of figure out the distances and all that?
With stuff like that, yeah. I think there were certain times where he got me in for literally just a mirror image of Wilder and his approach to it because of the dimensions. Which I think, I mean, it's a smart thing to do. I mean, literally, like, that was what was going to be stood in front of him. Obviously, coming at him a little bit different, but I'm sure he handled that pretty well as well by the looks of it. But no, he was working smart. That's for sure. He was working smart.
Do you form a relationship with the person you're out there sparring with, or is it all very strictly business?
For me, whenever I've done that before in the past, like I went to Kiev in the Ukraine, and that was just like I didn't engage in any conversation. It was like, hi, bye, thank you, at best. Thank you, maybe, depending on how I did that day. And that's why anyone who I spoke to about the sparring with Tyson, like the way he taken all of us in as sparring partners and gave us loads of advice and really engaged with us in conversations before and after training was second to none. And I've formed a relationship with Tyson. I mean, still in contact with Tyson now, here and again. He's a hell of a guy, hell of a champion, and just credit to him, because the way that he made us feel welcome, I don't hear even a lot of sparring partners doing that. I mean, there's a few, but from my past experiences, no, that don't happen. So no, that was a pleasure.
You didn't stick about for the fight, did you?
Yes,
you did.
We ended up staying around for the last week, that was surreal.
I mean, how was it sort of seeing all the work that you'd all put in over the previous weeks, sort of coming out or playing out in such spectacular fashion in front of you.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think that was the most satisfying part of the trip, seeing him win, because you were part of that. That was the genuine, like we were part of what just happened there, kind of thing. Like, we contributed to that. So that was a massive buzz. Did
you guys know that he was going to stick it on him right from the start?
Yeah, that was always going to be the approach. The approach was going to be front foot. I knew that we weren't going to see Tyson. Well, I knew anyway that we weren't going to see Tyson like his usual self, like slipping and not getting hit, and because he can do that. We all know he can do that. He would have just done the same thing again. He just wouldn't have got hit. But I think he knew himself that he has to go out there and stop him. And it also worked out. Obviously, that Wilder isn't the best at fighting on his back foot. So yeah, they made that clear in the spars. That's for sure.
I mean, he said he was going to do it, but yeah, I just think maybe Deontay just didn't believe him. He didn't think that Tyson could do that to him.
No, he can scrap. Tyson can. That's the thing with Tyson. He can do it all. He can stay in there and scrap. He can box on the back foot. It's like, that's like they saying it. How'd you beat a man like that?
People said he couldn't punch. Can he?
He can punch. He can punch. That's for sure. I found that out in the first spar. He can punch.
Really?
Yeah, he can punch.
A little touch with the canvas, did he?
Oh no, not quite, but he can punch.
Saw a few stars.
The man's heavy-handed. You got to think of this. Look at the size of him. It's just like genetic, like physics. Like the guy's what, 6'9", and what? How many pounds did he weigh in in the end? It must be 19.5 stone now.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
That's like, a man like that has to be able to push just to his law of averages, bro. It's like physics.
Someone else you were out there with has got a fight on Friday, a second pro fight. David Adelaide.
Yeah.
You would have been in the house together.
Yeah.
You'd have trained with him. He's a new kid on the block.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
He's exciting. That's for sure. He's raw, he can box, he can bang, that's for sure. Like, one thing that I heard about him before going out there was that he hits hard. And I saw that he's a very, very strong individual as well. So it'll be exciting to see. I'm actually looking forward to watching his career. That's a career that I'm looking forward to watch. So,
is he potentially on the same trajectory as a Dubois?
Yeah, very similar. I think he's got the capability to be fast-tracked as well, to be fair. So I'm looking forward. Like, he's got all the fundamentals, all the dimensions. He's had a good amateur career as well. I've only heard good things about him, to be fair, so I'll be looking forward to see how that career unravels, definitely, man.
Well, you've been back in Blighty for a while, you've been through lockdown. What have you heard is on the cards for you over the next month or two?
There might be a potential fight, hopefully in September. Can't say too much more than that, but it'll be a step-up fight, hopefully a little bit of a 50-50, so to speak. That's on the cards to the people anyway, yeah. For me, I'm going to win the fight, but yeah, it's a 50-50. But yeah, keep an ear out.
There's a little circle of cruiserweights now that are quite well known, quite established. We all know the names.
Well, I don't feel like I'm part of it.
You don't, or you do?
No, I don't.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is you just need to be leapfrog into it.
This is yeah. Obviously,
like Massey, React-Paul,
yeah, you got some. There's some names. There's some names in the mix. I think I got to beat him with them all. But like, for me, it was like, yeah, timing's everything. Like, there's a way to do it. But I think with COVID, like, everyone's hands have been pushed, and I believe in myself enough to know that I've got the beating of these guys. So the time is now.
Well, you're only one good fight away from it, aren't you?
This is the thing. So when the opportunity presents itself, like, all I've got to do is make sure I'm ready.
Are you, considering the amount of time you've been out of the ring, you've come off surgery and everything, are you ready to jump straight into something, or, you know, the dreaded tune-up fight? Or, I mean, what is the situation?
I've got to be ready. I've got to make myself ready. I've not got the opportunity not to be ready, so I'm ready. That's for sure.
One last question. We seem to be in a period of people toying with the idea of comebacks. You got Mike Tyson talking about it. He's sort of teasing out a few videos.
Yeah.
Holyfield. Nigel Benn last year was talking about it and came very close. It fell through at the last minute.
Yeah.
They're all in their sort of early-ish 50s. You know what's coming, don't you?
Yeah.
Your old man's talking about coming back.
Yeah.
Former six-time world karate champion or something, at the age of 60.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I mean, for me, that's why I understand your Nigel Benns, your Mike Tyson. Like, people say that's a terrible idea, blah, blah. But for me, because I've got that relationship with my dad, and I understand him to the point where I know his reasons for coming back. And there's a fire that burns within these guys, and who are we as a public and as a people, like, to tell them when that fire is to stop burning. Like, that's not on us, because you were enjoying it when they were in the prime. So let them keep going. They're still pushing themselves. They're still dedicated. So I understand it. I understand where it's coming from, and it's deeper than what we see to the naked eye. Like, it comes from within, and I think that's where, for these guys, like, who are we to tell them that they're too old?
If he was a boxer, would you be saying the same thing?
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting.
For sure.
I'm thinking back to young Connor. He was dead set against his going in.
Obviously, boxing, you've got an impact, but we know that, they know that. They know that as a boxer and as an individual, they know that, and it's their responsibility to know, can I still go and do this? Am I comfortable with still going to do this? And that's their decision, that's not our decision. We've just got to support them in what they do. And when you see the training
years old,
as well,
and he's a complete unit. I mean, I'm sitting next to him at the end of last year, and he's sort of thinking, I agree with you.
We've done a couple of sessions in here, literally in this spot, right in this spot. Trust me, if he keeps up with me, he sets the pace more time.
I don't know if that says more about him or you, I'm not sure.
Probably me, to be fair. Nah, him, trust me. That's one thing I can say for sure, that says a lot about him. Yeah.
But the other sort of crazy thing about it is, with Tokyo getting put back a year,
gives him more time.
Could we dare to dream, but he might just rock up at the Olympics?
That's his dream. That was his dream, and karate was never an Olympic sport. So I think once there were talks of karate becoming the Olympic sport in Tokyo, he went into overdrive. That fire, there was a bit of petrol thrown on the fire, and then off he went. And
he looks at the current crop and thinks he's got to beat it all.
Yeah, it's a mindset. It's a mentality. That's that winner's mentality. That's what he sees. He can't see anything else. He doesn't see defeat. Once you see defeat, defeat becomes you. If you see victory, victory becomes you.
Do you think if he succeeds in coming through this, but he'll actually ease into retirement and enjoy it with, knowing, but
I think then
he's done it all.
Yeah, that's that ultimate satisfaction. Like, yeah, I'm done. Like when you're a boxer, you've cleaned out your WBO, your IBF, WBA, WBC, you've done it all. You ticked them all off the list. You've done another weight division as well. I don't see him going back down to light heavyweight and win it, but yeah, he's done it all, kind of thing. So yeah.
Mum talking about a comeback yet?
Nah, my mum's chilling. She wants a horse, so I'll get these fights out of the way and take these heads off, and then I can buy my mum a horse, and then I'm a happy man.
Jordan, thank you very much.
Thank you.